Where are we looking? We need to be uniform.
Yeah. Assistant, yeah. Go ahead.
5, 4, 3.
Hi everyone, welcome to a meditation on domestic violence and abuse. My name is Tina Shela. Today is a very special day because for the past year, everyone has heard me speak by myself, speak about different issues, talk about different things happening in our society. And today, for the first time, I have someone with me here, and I am so excited for us to just have a conversation, to talk about life, to just talk about and just encourage other people to help bring hope into the community. There are so many times people feel hopeless. Sometimes people go through so many things in their life and they think that is the end of the world. But today we are here to bring hope, to restore hope, to be that voice of hope, to say whatever you face in life, if you're still alive, I always say this, no matter what happens to you, if you're still alive, if you can still breathe the following day or the next minute, there's still something that you can do with your life. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. So Janet, how are you today?
I'm all right. Happy to be alive. Excited to be here. Wonderful.
Yes.
It's a honor to be here. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm excited.
Yes.
To bring, even if it's the little change to somebody's life. That's what keeps me going, because I'm alive today because of someone who gave me hope.
Yes.
So I'm excited to be here today.
Oh,
thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you very much.
Yes, I haven't actually been with you for a very long time. I've just known you for a few months, really, probably less than 6 months, like actually to meet you, maybe to have a conversation with you. But in that short time that I've seen you, we've met probably a few times this year. And every time we have spoken, I have just left your presence and just thought to myself, wow, a lot of people have told me that, I persevere, like I'm a tough cookie. And when you hear people saying it, because for me, it's just like, I just do life. And I don't understand what people are talking about. But when I met you and was in your presence, I was like, probably what people tell me is what I see in this lady, like just, someone who is just full of life. You are just, I don't know, I'm just in awe of you. That's why we are here today.
Thank you. Many thanks. I won't call myself a tough cookie as such, but I would say by the grace of God, I'm alive. I just live one moment at a time, take it one step at a time. It's not easy. I won't say my life is rosy, but I just try and see the positive in any given situation. So that's what keeps me going.
Wow. Yes, so do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself as a woman and as a mom?
Oh, that's challenging. As a woman, I would say that, what would I say about myself as a woman? Let's see. I would say I would mix them both, because it's very hard to talk about one or the other. So from a woman's perspective, I would say I'm a woman who lives for God. I'm a woman who loves to worship God. I'm raising my son. I'm a single mom of one. I work full time, and I don't have family in this town. So basically I get along by support of friends. I work full time, raise my son. Very challenging, but we get by.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is it the grace of God, like you say, that keeps you, like with this smile that you have? I always see it, and even today, I know you're not well, but you still have this smile, like, as a single mom, as you said, full-time worker. Every time I've seen you, you are just so full of joy. And like you said, like myself, I go through so many challenges so many challenges, maybe more than people would even realize. But for me, like you said, for me as well, it's just, the grace of God to be able to take everything, any situation, I always try and find something positive out of it regardless.
True. I would say it's a combination of so many things. It's definitely by the grace of God, because without God, I don't think I would be existing today. So by grace of God, He has put people in my life to help me through my walk. So it's by the grace of God, by reliable friends that God has brought my way, and also by choice. Life sometimes is a choice. You choose which way you want to take. Life does not come easy, and when the difficult times come, you make a choice. You say to God, okay, God, this is what I have. How do I go about it? Then God will bring people and things your way to get by, but it's up to you to choose, because God will put something in your way, but you choose whether you want it or not. So for me, as I say, it's by grace of God, by wonderful people like you that God has brought my way, and also by choosing to remain positive amidst all the negative things that happen around us.
Wow, I love that. And talking about people that you said are around you, myself, my family is still back home in Zimbabwe, like my parents, my brothers and my sisters. It's only me and my husband who are here. And keeping positive, it's also because I have surrounded myself, I've given myself that choice to surround myself with positive people, and people that I know can help me in different kinds of situations. There are so many people who are out there who just put themselves in a box, and they just think, if my family is not here, that's the end of the world. Or if I'm going through a situation, be it a family situation, they think there is no way out, because they don't even allow themselves to reach out to other people who are out there. Like, what would you say about having people out there who actually can help you in your situations?
I think there are, I'm confident to say that there are people out there who are willing to help. There are people out there who really want to help. But then there are people out there who want to take advantage of the situation. There are people who go, oh, okay, so she's like that, but actually that's not what she is. So she's single. Oh, so she's going through some form of abuse. Didn't know that. Then there are people who are out there to say, yes, I hear you. I know that pain. Been there myself. We can do this. Or there are people out there who say, I have no idea what you are going through, but I'm happy to walk with you. So it's surrounding ourselves with people who bring change in us, people who bring a positive vibe in us. It's sieving through the people around us to find out who is genuine and who is not. But it's also the people we have around us depends on what we give to other people. So if you're a good friend to someone, surely there will be a good friend to you out there. But if you're just a friend who receives, then perhaps it would be so hard to get someone who will stick by you when you have nothing to offer. But going back to your point, the people we allow to be in our space also define how we live, whether we want to be happy or sad, because there are some people who we don't want to part with who actually are making our lives miserable.
I agree.
Sometimes the misery we face is actually within where we live. So it's who you allow in your personal space, who you keep close and who you keep at a distance. That defines happiness or sadness.
And it's not easy to, especially when the people have come in your life. I've recently had an incident where I allowed someone to come into my life, and I poured out my whole life, to this person, and I was so vulnerable because I needed help from this person, and they came around as if they truly understand what I'm trying to do and my vision and where I'm trying to go. But in the midst, actually realizing that actually this person is actually probably manipulating or taking advantage of my situation, and because I've invested so much into what I am doing, which, you know, I was also very honest to that person that, you know, I'm investing so much, but I have nothing. So I went beyond my own means. And when I realized that this relationship is actually not good for me personally, like this is not good, I had to make that decision that I just have to probably take a step back or walk away from this relationship. And it wasn't easy. I remember I kept every morning, something would trigger something and I would be so angry, you know, and sometimes I would cry, and I kept just saying, God, help me to forgive, because it's not easy.
I think that is one of the things I find that come with being vulnerable. Because when you're vulnerable, you are desperate
Yes.
to let it out. Sometimes you're desperate to just find someone to listen. And out of that desperation, you find yourself giving in too soon. You haven't taken time to trust this person. And I'm not telling you that I'm perfect. I've been that person you just described. I've been a friend who's been told something and say it to someone else. I've been the friend who actually listens but then not gonna do something about it. I've been in my life, I've been the unreliable friend. I've been the friend that you expect to be there and they fail to be there. But also I've been the friend who has trusted too much too soon. So you pour out yourself to this person and you realize that actually what you have invested is not what it is. That comes with a lot of anger, that comes with a lot of distrust, that comes with a lot of negative, toxic energy within you. And it requires hard work, lots of prayers to let go, to forgive that person, and even to forgive yourself. I struggle to forgive myself for trusting too soon.
Yes, yes.
And if you have not forgiven yourself, you can't be in a position to say, okay, I forgive you, Tinashe. You've hurt me, but I forgive you. Forgiveness has to start from inside you. So you come to a place, bring yourself to a place where you are like, okay, I can deal with this. And that you can't just wake up and say you've forgiven yourself. I'm still forgiving myself for the things that happened 10 years ago or even beyond. It's an everyday journey. Every day you have to forgive yourself.
Yes.
Every day. Every single day.
That is so true.
But opening up, the pain that comes with opening up to someone you think is going to be helpful, only to realize that they're not part of your journey. That comes with so much, comes with shame, comes with embarrassment, comes with anger, comes with feelings of
used, especially like when you have invested like money or something, you know,
loss of self-worth, loss of self-esteem, and you know that a combination of all that actually impacts your everyday life.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I find that it does. In me.
Oh my goodness. And you know, it's so funny that a few weeks ago I put a post on Facebook, and then you replied to the post, and it was like we are having a conversation. I was talking, you know, I can't even remember what the post was, but you replied back to that post, and you know, it's like we actually had like a full-on conversation.
What was the topic of that?
We were talking about preparing to leave you remember? And then, you know, like the steps.
To leave a toxic relationship.
Yes,
I remember
and
that.
that is what actually brought me to us to have this video, because I was like, we actually just had like a full-on conversation on Facebook, you know, in just between you responding to the post that I had done. But that, you know, that message, it had so much value. Like they were really amazing
Easier
points.
said than done. Easier said than done. You know, I find it easier to say, if you and I are friends.
Yes.
Just normal friendship. You are my friend, I'm your friend, kind of friendship. And I feel like you're not being a good friend. It's easier for me to just decide, okay, I'm not going to talk to that woman and I'm not ringing her. End of story. And I move on. That's an easy relationship to get out of.
Yeah.
Now, when leaving a toxic, intimate relationship is a totally different story. You love them and you hate them and you want to leave and you don't want to leave.
Yes.
And then you start thinking, if I left him, I'll be single. Or if I leave her, I'll be single. And what's the society going to say? And what will people say? It's a hard one.
Yes.
It's a really, really hard one, living a toxic relationship. But it comes with advantages. The fruits of living a toxic relationship are not a fruit that manifests itself soon. It's something you see afterwards. You look back and you go, gee, why didn't I do this any sooner? But then again, on the same breath, living a toxic relationship is very, very dangerous, depending on what kind of a relationship you have.
Yes.
It puts you in a very vulnerable place because you don't know what the other person is thinking, and you don't know how they're taking this. And that's why I believe sometimes you hear that a woman or a daughter did not wake up, or someone has disappeared, or people have taken their lives as well because of the impact of just telling someone that I'm going to leave you. For a woman, if a man say to me, I'm going to leave you, oh my goodness, that comes with a lot of pain, comes with shame, it comes with feeling of not good enough, comes with a feeling of you're not a woman enough. But then again, it comes with a feeling of, oh, so someone outside there is better than me. Someone out there can offer what I can't offer. And then you start thinking, okay, so he's leaving me. Is there someone else? And then you become angry. And that's where people end up doing things that the law don't like, and we end up being locked behind and with another family grieving, isn't it?
Yes, that is so true.
Very true.
And because of that post, you know, it made me think of something that a few people have told me since I started speaking out on domestic violence and abuse. Most people, you know, like older people, because I'm still young. I'm turning, what am I turning? I'm turning 34 next week.
Oh, spring chicken.
Really? Am I? Spring chicken?
I can't remember what I did at 34, but
really?
Let's carry on.
Yes, you know, older.
But you're very mature for 34 though.
I'm too old, probably.
You're very mature for 34 years, but carry on.
Yes, so they, you know, a lot of older people, you know, came back, you know, and were like, you know, you can't even relate to what you're talking about, you know, who are you to give advice, especially because when I was in my abusive relationship, I wasn't married, so it was a de facto relationship. It was my boyfriend. I was living with my boyfriend, and we, you know, I'm in this abusive relationship. And so now the advice I'm giving, obviously, it's not only tailored to single or people who are not married. It's just a toxic relationship, you know, basically is not good. And if it's not doing you any good, if it's making you harm yourself, you need to leave it. So that kind of advice, you know, I received backlash, you know, from especially older people and who are married, and they're like, you are giving advice, yet you were not even married. How would you even understand? You didn't even have children then. I know I was pregnant a few times, you know, in my that relationship, but I actually never, you know, carried a full term pregnancy and had a child. So they're like, you're giving advice, you know, but you wouldn't even understand. And that's why I thought, you know, it would be so good to have, you know, someone. So in us having that, you know, a response on Facebook when we were talking, I was like, how come I can relate to a mom? You know, what sometimes people say things and they make you feel like you're not even worthy.
You know, I must say though that everyone is entitled to their opinion. It's their opinion and they're entitled to it, and whatever they want to do with their opinion, they can take it. Personally, I choose to disagree with that opinion, that because you are not married, you should not provide advice to someone. That is, in my opinion, which I'm entitled to, is not right. Because pain is pain. And you can't say your pain is better than mine, or his pain is better than... Pain is what the person says it is. Pain is what the person feels they are. And just because you are sharing from your point of view, you are not saying, okay, this is how people who are who are legally married and being abused should behave. You are sharing your experience, as raw as it is. I've read your book, by the way. But you are sharing from your point of view.
Yes.
And trust me, there are millions of women out there who can resonate with you in so many levels. I don't think it's right for someone to say you are not in a good place to give advice because you are not married. Because married or not, you are abused.
Yes.
And you are speaking up to help other people. So those married people, if they don't want to listen to your advice, that's fine. They can block their ears, but we are here listening. I believe that every relationship comes with their own pluses and minuses.
Absolutely.
No relationship out there is pain-free, and it's hard work. I know grass is greener on social media and out on the road,
Yes.
but every relationship comes with a lot of pain.
Yes.
And if anyone who's been through a toxic relationship and come out of it alive want to speak up, please let them speak up, because you don't know how many lives they're saving. By the time I read your book, not many people around me actually realized that I was a single mom raising a child on my own.
Wow.
And I read that book, and there are some parts of that book that I would go, no, I think this is my story she's writing. I could resonate with that book on so many levels. That book actually gave me the hope. It's actually after I heard you speak at a woman conference that I thought, oh, it's okay to speak. It's okay to say that. It's okay to move on. It's okay to still be alive after you've been through a relationship that did not work, that has left you embarrassed to the core. So you can actually still stand up and empower other people. I think you're doing very well. Keep speaking. People who don't want to listen can block their ears. But it's not right to say to someone that your experience differs from mine, so you shouldn't speak. Because it was through listening to you, I found the courage to even tell some of the people around me to say, look, this thing is doable. It's not a matter of life and death. So I find that, to answer your question, I find their feedback to you coming out as more personal and more too negative. Because I guess if you look at it from a traditional African perspective, a girl is supposed to get married and have children. So once you're married, you're supposed to stick with it and not get out. So many people who are married don't know how to get out because that's what the society wants them to be. Whereas if you look at it logically and from a human perspective, love is not supposed to hurt.
No.
True love should not hurt. So if you find yourself in a place where you keep on being hurt, it's either you are dating an onion or because it's the onion is the only thing that makes me cry these days in the kitchen. So it's either you are dating an onion or you are a tree and you can't move.
You're good.
No, I'm not good, but that's, as I said, this is my opinion.
Yes.
That I'm entitled to. But honestly, sincerely speaking, if you're out there and you're in a toxic relationship and you think that the pain is different to when you are not married, you are wrong.
Yes.
Pain is pain.
Yes.
Totally. So get out of it, snap out of it, move on, get alive.
Yes, and for me, that's what it comes back to. And I think that's what is missing in the world today, or even in the older generation anyway, that, you know, let's put aside culture. Let's put aside politics. Let's put aside religion. I mean, humanity, just the fact that someone can share, you know, either whatever their story, or it might not be even be a sad story, but the fact that we can relate to one another, that's what makes us human beings, that you can feel for someone regardless whether I was not married or not, you know, I was a bad child, as some people want to call it.
Humanity. And I believe that most of us are alive today because of somebody else's encouragement.
Absolutely.
It could have been an encouragement to go to school and get a job. It could have been an encouragement that, you know, it doesn't matter whether you've been married 40 years, you can still have a child. We are who we are partly because of somebody's encouragement somewhere. And I think any form of encouragement, we should take it as a positive, as a learning curve. If you don't agree with what someone is coming out to say, well, keep your opinion to yourself. Yeah. But what did I want to say? I lost my train of thought.
I'm sure it will come.
It will come. It will come. It will
It
come.
will come. Yes.
It will come.
Yes. I love this question that I had written down.
All right.
So for mothers and wives, even people who are in de facto relationships, basically, who are having their partners abusing them, and they have those partners who don't want to go for counseling, which for me probably that's when people think I'm very brutal when I say this, that you're in a toxic relationship, and for anyone that I know who is in a relationship, everyone wants that relationship to work, because that love, when people fall in love, always people want to protect that. And sometimes, unfortunately, in life, we find ourselves probably in a toxic relationship, and before someone even screams outside to say, I need help, I know that inside their roof, they are trying. Each and every other person is trying very hard the best way they can. But we have so many women out there who have tried, let's go and seek help. They've tried, let's do this to make this work, and the other person does not want to even talk to anyone about it. So these are the women, that for me, I put so much attention on, because they really want this to work, and this other person doesn't want to go and seek help or counseling or make this better, but they want you to stay. But you are saying, but I'm in pain, I'm
That is a tricky situation to be in, because one has insight, the other doesn't. But I believe that you can only look after someone else after you've looked after yourself. You cannot feed someone else when you're hungry. You cannot pray for someone else when you're full of evil yourself. You cannot guide someone else when you're blind yourself.
Yes.
You need to sort yourself first before you can sort the other person. So you've realized that person needs help, and you've told them that to go for help, but they don't want to go for help. First thing to think about is, am I living a life that reflects that I can tell them what they lack, or do they look at me and they also realize that I need as much help as they do? You see?
Yes.
I would do a lot of soul searching. I would do a bit of assessment within you. What have I done? For that woman, if I was that woman, I have been that woman before, I would actually get help for myself. I would get help for myself and make sure that actually what I'm telling this person is what it is. Because the person is probably looking at you and thinking, oh my goodness, you have a big log in your eye. Why don't you remove that first before you see the speck in mine? You see?
Wow, that's
For that woman, I would say, and again, you cannot, it could be genuine that that person need help, but they're not ready. But you really can't, you can show a horse to the river, but can you really force them to drink water? No, you cannot. I would say to that lady, sister, look after yourself. Give that person the space they need. If that space means stepping back, you've given them, you've sown the seed, you've told them you need help. Give them space to digest that. Maybe eventually they'll think, so and so say I need some help. You just can't be drumming it into them every day. Go seek help. Maybe it's time for you to take a break, step back, give them space, and see how they go without you in their intrusive in their space.
Oh, I love that.
Because the more you tell me to get help, the more I'll be very angry with you. If I believe that I don't need that help. If I believe that I need help and you've told me, I'll be like, oh, that is the confirmation I was waiting for. Let me go and get help. But if I'm convicted and deep down my heart I've decided I don't need that help, and you keep on telling me that I need that help, well, you're gonna get something from me, and it's not very pleasurable. So give that person some space. That space could mean you taking a step back. That space could mean taking a break from the relationship. That space could mean looking after yourself more, so they can see from you that actually they could be the problem.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. You have said it even better than I would have said it. I love that because, you know, especially for people who are married, you know, that's the worst thing I would ever encourage anyone to divorce. You know, no one wants anyone to divorce.
And divorce is very painful.
Yes, it's painful and it's very expensive nowadays too.
And can be messy.
Yes, you know, those are things you don't even encourage people. But like you said, if the relationship is toxic, you can take a step back, you can take a break. And this is why, especially in our culture particular, where, you know, once you're gone, people don't want you to even to come back home because you have gone to your home. But if something is not right, this is when you want your family or even friends, people around you, to be able, you know, to welcome you if it's possible in their surroundings, for you to have that break. Because what is the point of staying in that, you know, toxic relationship and nothing is moving? Because that's dangerous when you are staying in there, which for me, that's what happened. I was seeking help. I was praying, I was fasting, I was seeking counseling from different pastors, but at the end of the day, I still went back to the same place. So for me, I was seeking help outside, and then I come back, I would go gain weight. I would actually gain weight.
Really?
And
You gaining weight?
I was even worse than this. I actually would gain weight when I'm away. And because I was at peace, I was not being beaten, I was not going through any of this. And then I go back and I lose all that. I start getting sick and all these things. But because I was going back to the place where, you know, the person who is abusing me in my situation was not getting any help. It was me getting help and not the other person.
And you see, they say in an ideal world, it would be best for both the couple to get help. It takes two hands to clap.
Yes.
You cannot clap with one hand
No.
unless you are hitting on your something else.
Oh, then-
But that's not clap.
Yes.
What I would do, if I've done my best and the other person doesn't feel like they need the help, it would be safer for me to step back. And stepping back can mean take a break from the relationship. It doesn't mean that you hate the person, but they need that space to reconfigure themselves, to find themselves again, and also for you to reflect
Yes.
on your own self. So take a break, take a step back, and see what the future holds. You never know.
Yes. And this breaks my heart because I've had a lot of women for the past more than a year call me. They are in tears, they are crying. Some, they are having knives being, you know, like put in their faces at night. And for me, I feel so hopeless when you're on a call and someone is going through this. And I'm not even talking of overseas, I'm talking about here in Australia and also in some different states where someone is calling me and they are going through this and they are mothers, and the first thing that they talk about is like, I'm worried, I know, and they tell you this, that I know I'm in this toxic relationship and it's not going to change because it's been going on forever and this person doesn't want any help from anybody else. But they're saying, but I'm scared for my children that, you know, they won't have that father figure, you know, and, you know, I won't, you know, how am I going to survive by myself? You know, it's going to be difficult for me to go to work whilst I have kids and all these things. But yet these women, some of them, these partners, they are not even helping anyway, you know. Are these just, you know, is it culture? Do you think it's probably culture, you know, what we talked about before, that people are told, you know, this is how you're supposed to behave? Or is it just fear
I think
of the unknown?
in my opinion, it's both. Where I come from, for instance, in my culture, once a woman is married, you're gone. You belong to where
You're married.
where you are married. So no matter what you're going through, you're told to make it work, and you're told your grandmother made it work. What's wrong with you?
That's what they
So
say.
there's that. And then there's the thought of, you start to live for the society. What will people think if I leave? What is my, you know, I'm a church pastor. I'm the most prominent people in my society. I'm a nurse. I need to live by example. What example am I setting? But at whose expense? The same society sometimes doesn't even have a clue of what you are going through. We live for the society and for the culture so much, but the culture really does not understand the depth of your pain.
No.
The culture, yes, the dowry has been paid for them, and they can confidently say that our daughter is married to so and so. For them, that suits them.
Yes.
But whether you eat or not, does that bother them? Does that give them sleepless nights? No. The same society we live for, or what is people going to think? Does society care? Society will care eventually when you've been killed, and then we do a rally with yellow flowers.
Oh yes,
but that's too late.
And it's on the breaking news.
And then women with children often go, but I need a father figure for my children. My response to that may not be accepted by so many people, but I want to say, what you expose the children to determine what kind of children they are going to, what kind of people they are going to be in the future. Do I want to raise a child who see me crying, being beaten every day? Do I want to teach my child that being in a